their church, for those that are evacuating the Pasadena area. But again, it's important for us to recognize that while the firefighters, life is first and foremost. Make sure that people heed the advice of our first responders. With that, I'm going to introduce our LA County Fire Chief Anthony Maroney to give you an update on what is going on. But I just want to thank Chief Maroney as well as Chief Crowley for the work that they are doing to make sure that our first responders have all the resources necessary. Chief Maroney.
So good morning. Thank you, Supervisor Barger. My name is Anthony Maroney. I am the County of Los Angeles Fire Chief, and I'm also the Region 1 Coordinator. I am the County of Los Angeles Fire Chief, and I'm also the Region 1 Coordinator for four large fires burning in LA County at this time. The Palisades Fire is located in both LA City and LA County. We are in unified four large fires burning in LA County at this time. The Palisades Fire is located in both LA City and LA County. We are in unified command with the City of Los Angeles Fire Department in addition to CAL FIRE. We have well over 5,000 acres that have burned, and the fire is growing. We have no percentage of containment. We have an estimated 1,000 structures destroyed, and also no reported fatalities, and a high number of significant injuries to residents who did not evacuate, in addition to first responders who are on the fire line. We have over 1,000 personnel assigned, and the cause of the fire is unknown. However, it is under investigation. For the Eaton Fire, it is located in both the Angeles National Forest, the Altadena area of LA County, and Pasadena. LA County is in unified command with both the Angeles National Forest and the Pasadena Fire Department. We have over 2,000 acres burning at this time, and the fire continues to grow with 0% containment. We have over 500 personnel assigned, and unfortunately, we have 2 reported fatalities to civilians. Unknown cause at this time, and we do have a number of significant injuries. We have over 100 structures destroyed, and the cause of the fire is unknown and under investigation. I will ask that LA City Fire Chief Kristen Crowley update you on the Hurst Fire after I am finished with my remarks. The LA County Fire Department operational area consists of 29 separate fire departments in LA County, and all of those fire departments are at drawdown with no fire apparatus or additional personnel to spare. As the Region 1 Coordinator, I have requested mutual aid from the 5 counties of Orange, Los Angeles, Ventura, Santa Barbara, and San Luis Obispo counties. Additionally, last night, I contacted the State Office of Emergency Services and requested 50 engine strike teams. 50 engine strike teams is composed of 250 fire engines and over 1,000 personnel. We have also requested resources from out of state, as well as Northern California. Thank you to the first responders from Nevada, Oregon, and Washington State that are already on the road coming to LA County to assist. Lastly, the National Weather Service has predicted a continued red flag weather event with strong winds and low humidities, placing all residents of Los Angeles County in danger. To all of our viewers, please prioritize your safety as well as the well-being of those around you as we come together to continue to get through this widespread disaster. Los Angeles County firefighters will remain on the front line until we reach full containment, and we ask that you keep all of Los Angeles County in your thoughts and prayers. I would now like to invite up Los Angeles City Fire Chief Kristen Crowley to give her briefing. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Kristen Crowley, Los Angeles City Fire Department Fire Chief. I'd like to start with just a moment, if we could, of gratitude. A moment of gratitude for our first responders, our boots on the ground that are battling this intense and multiple jurisdiction and number of fires. So gratitude to those who are doing the work since yesterday through the night, and like Chief Maroney said, we're going to continue to work hard to ensure that we save people, lives, and property. With that, I'll be touching on a couple major points. With the Pacific Palisades Fire, we know that it continues to demand a significant amount of resources and attention. A second major brush fire, now referred to as the Hurst Fire, has erupted in the Sylmar area of Los Angeles. Now together these fires are stretching the capacity of emergency services to their maximum limits. The Los Angeles City Fire Department is battling these two major fires while also maintaining, I want to focus on this as well, 911 services for the city's approximate 4 million residents. Now, despite the severity of the conditions, our department remains fully committed to safeguarding lives and property. Next, I want to focus on what we've done over the last 24 hours. And with that, even within the city of Los Angeles, with these two major brush fires, our department has responded to 3,624 911 calls for service. And to put that in perspective, our average is just under 1,500 calls in a 24-hour period. Over the last 24 hours, we've also responded to an additional 32 structure fires within the city. We've treated and transported an extensive number of medical emergencies, well extending our normal 650 transports of local hospitals. When it comes to the Pacific Palisades Fire, as Chief Maroney had said, this is over 3,000 acres at this point and continues to grow. We will confirm the exact acreage later, so we'll make sure that we also communicate that to the community and to the media. Last night, as of 1930 hours, all aircrafts were grounded due to high winds. Aircraft are continuing to be able to resume their water drops and acreage mapping today when the weather allows us to do so. A total of 3,398 civilians and 15,105 structures are in the evacuation zone. And again, the evacuation zones are the following: north of PCH, west of Kenter Avenue and San Vicente Boulevard, south of Mulholland Drive, and east of Topanga Canyon Boulevard. There are multiple evacuation centers which are supported by the American Red Cross. Injuries. Of course, there's a lot of interest in injuries. We have several firefighters and civilian injuries that have been reported, and all patients have been treated and transported to the local hospitals. Damage assessments. Chief Maroney did speak about a specific number. We are still vetting that through on the city side, so more information to come, and we will message that as soon as we can validate that. Approximately 400 LAPD firefighters have been deployed to the Palisades Fire. We have many hundreds of law enforcement officers, our partner agency responders, and public works members engaged in supporting our overall operations. We are going to be transitioning to CAL FIRE this morning to manage this incident at 0800 hours. Next, I'd like to talk briefly about our Hurst Fire, which is located in Sylmar. Last night at approximately 10:10 p.m., the fire erupted in the Sylmar area of Los Angeles, adjacent to the Los Angeles National Forest. The fire has rapidly expanded to over 500 acres, prompting the emergency evacuation of more than 3,000 residents. This fire is burning within the footprint of the historic Saddle Ridge Fire. Now, despite the extreme winds and significant risks, and that's what we're going to be talking about from today and probably throughout the next few days, there's always that significant risk of life and property, and we'll continue to focus on saving lives and protecting property. The exact acreage at this point will be confirmed later, and we'll make sure that we communicate that to you as well. Lastly, we want to make sure that everybody understands we are absolutely not out of danger yet. With the strong winds that continue to push through the city and the county today, I will tell you, and we are all committed to our first responders, our firefighters will remain focused on protecting lives and property. The LAUSD is extremely proud to stand with all of the entities behind me. Our top priority will continue to be life safety, ensuring that safe evacuation and the rescues of our residents that are in harm's way. It will continue to be our primary focus in this wind-driven fire event as it continues. Thank you for your cooperation, your support, and your diligence. And today, we will continue to stand with our partners to protect everyone. Next up, I would like to introduce Sheriff Luna. Thank you. Oh, sorry. Next up. Oh, we moved it. Okay.
Yes, we're just moving around and having LA Unified Superintendent Alberto Carvalho.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Chair Barger, county and city leadership, in addition to the leadership of our first responders in our great community for the very, very important work you continue to do to protect our community, protect the assets, and first and foremost, the health and well-being and lives of members of our community. Los Angeles Unified is the second largest school district in the nation, representing the interests of 540,000 students and 75,000 committed employees. We make decisions regarding closure of schools in a very methodical and science-driven manner. So after a great deal of consultation overnight with experts looking at the data and considering the fact that air quality conditions deteriorated significantly overnight, we have made the decision to shut down a number of schools, particularly in the eastern part of our school system. I will define what those boundaries are. School communities, beginning with leadership, workforce, and families have been informed about these areas. And as of now, those schools within the boundaries of the area that I will define are closed. This accounts for about 10% of our total schools in our district, about 100 schools out of 1,000 schools. The areas that I'm speaking about are schools located north of Manchester Boulevard, Firestone Boulevard, east of 10th Avenue, west of I-710, and south of Highway 134. Any school within that area, and that accounts again for the eastern part of our district, where the air quality met or exceeded levels that are not appropriate for employees or students to be around, are effectively shut down. We will be making decisions about what will happen in those schools going into tomorrow by 4 p.m. today based on the evolution conditions. In fact, since we made the decision to shut down those schools, air quality conditions have improved significantly despite the fact that they worsened significantly overnight. I want to speak specifically about schools surrounding the Palisades area. As of last night, we had to shut down 5 schools as a result of mandatory evacuation conditions. Those were Kenter Canyon Elementary School, Canyon Elementary School, Marquez Elementary School, Palisades Charter Elementary School, Revere Middle School, and Topanga Elementary School, in addition to Palisades High Charter High School. We have reports that Palisades High sustained significant damage as a result of the fire. We are working with state and federal entities to quickly access resources to address the issues facing this community. I want to very briefly address our workforce. We know today is not going to be a perfect day. A number of schools are shut down. However, localized conditions may make it difficult for our workforce or parents and students to access schools. Air quality conditions may vary and in fact may not necessarily be appropriate beyond the area where we close schools. Please use your discretion. We will utilize grace and be flexible regarding attendance and for students and employees alike. specifically students and employees who face chronic respiratory conditions or other health issues. We will be flexible regarding these individuals. We will provide additional updates later on today regarding conditions of schools going into tomorrow. For the schools that are open, recognizing the workforce needs of the parents of our children. Beyond the bell activities, care for children in those schools will continue to be provided today. Today is not a typical day. We need flexibility, patience, and grace, and we shall extend that to our workforce and certainly our parents and students in our community. Once again, our hearts go out to those who have been impacted, and our eternal gratitude to the first responders of our community for the fantastic, difficult work they've done over the past 24 hours. Thank you very much.
Morning. A lot of information to pass on, but please know this. This is a very difficult and challenging situation, but we're surrounded here by people who really care, and we're going to get through this together. That means with all of you as partners in our community. Our top priority continues to be the safety and well-being of our impacted residents.
And a lot of our personnel, our deputy personnel, are involved in life-saving measures.
This is a very fluid situation, specifically in the Altadena area, and a lot of our personnel, our deputy personnel, are involved in life-saving measures as we speak now. We are working very closely with local, state, and federal agencies to provide necessary resources and support. We have been in constant communication with both our fire and law enforcement partners across LA County and beyond to ensure that all available resources that are needed are being deployed strategically and effectively, but we are prioritizing life over everything else. There are over several hundred sheriff department personnel working around the clock to evacuate residents in danger, assist with road closures, and respond to multiple missions that are given to us, and they do change periodically depending on that life mission. To ensure that everyone is going to be safe or safe as possible, additional personnel will likely be assigned to this fire as this continues to go, and you heard from our fire partners that there is no containment here. I do want to split it up into two. I want to start talking about the Eaton Fire first. Currently, there are evacuation orders in Pasadena, Altadena, and Sierra Madre. Evacuation orders, there are approximately 32,500 residents under evacuation orders and approximately 13,186 structures that we deem at risk, and that could grow. Evacuation warnings, approximately 38,600 residents are under evacuation warnings and approximately 14,342 structures are at risk. At 4 a.m. this morning, the evacuation orders did expand to parts of the city of Duarte, Monrovia, and La Cañada. And again, we continue to assess that. That's evolving. That's going to change. So I encourage you to consistently pay attention to all sources of information so you're ready to go when you are given that order, if that does come. As information's changing, even as I was driving up here, even as I'm walking up to this podium, I'm getting messages about several of Los Angeles County. So we are impacted. So we're going to make sure that within our department, we're wrapping our arms around our employees just like we do with community members. Again, as I was coming up here,
In this area, I don't have any specifics. There is a lot of damage out there. We're still in the process of doing these assessments, trying to still save lives. So this information
is going to change. The Altadena Sheriff Station itself was evacuated, and it was at least limited on fire. There was some fire at the Altadena station, but we did have to clear out all of our employees out of there. I'm hearing some miraculous stories, and they're just barely coming in, of our deputies who were trying to evacuate the Altadena station, And then residents were running up from different locations around there, asking them for assistance in getting them out of their structures. And from what I understand, they were barely able to get people out before these structures started burning. There's just heroic stories of what our deputies are doing out there from last night and this morning. I want to make sure people know deputies are working to assist residents who are evacuating and continuing to make evacuation notices as we're speaking. They are securing areas that are evacuated, and it's always sad when I have to say this, but part of our responsibility is to make sure that no one loots or steals from our residents, our community members who are already being impacted. And I'm sad to report we made 2 arrests this morning for looting already. So if no one loots or steals from our residents, our community members who are already being impacted. And I'm sad to report we made 2 arrests this morning for looting already. So if you are thinking about coming into any of these areas to steal from our residents, I'm going to tell you something. You're going to be caught, you're going to be arrested, and you're going to be prosecuted. Don't do that. Stay out of these areas. It's only for emergency workers and people who live there. We are, at this point, unable to clearly determine the extent of damage at this point because the conditions are rapidly evolving and the destruction needs to be assessed as the daylight hours have come forward. I do know that I've lost at least 1 sheriff's black and white to a fire. Thank God that the deputy is okay. But deputies continue to be on patrol throughout the road closure areas to ensure evacuation areas remain closed to the public. All schools in the Pasadena Unified School District are closed. There is a road closure at Altanina Drive from Allen to New York Drive. For those in need of shelter, please head to the Pasadena Convention Center, located at 300 East Green Street in the city of Pasadena. And we're working with them in Unified Command and in partnership as well. For animals, there are established shelters at Large Animal Shelter Rose Bowl Stadium, at 1001 Rose Bowl Drive in Pasadena, Small Animal Shelter, Pasadena Humane Society at 361 South Raymond Avenue in Pasadena. I'm going to switch gears now to the Palisades Fire that we've been heavily involved in with our partners, again with LAPD and LA City Fire and everyone else that's up there working. As of this morning, the fire was still burning in that area. That's impacting our residents. Evacuations are in effect, continuously in effect, for the city of Calabasas, the city of Malibu, Los Angeles City, Pacific Palisades, and unincorporated area of Los Angeles County and Topanga Canyon. Evacuation orders are approximately 37,000 residents under evacuation orders and approximately 15,000 structures at risk. Again, that's specifically for the Palisades Fire. Evacuation warnings, approximately 20,000 residents are under evacuation warnings and approximately 6,500 structures are at risk. There have been minor injuries, and our partners at the fire department have talked about those, and several, unfortunately, structures that have been lost, and we're still assessing those. Bear with me, I'm almost there. There's a lot of information, very important information. There are several road closures which can change rapidly. The 10 freeway at Lincoln Boulevard, southbound PCH at Las Flores Canyon, southbound PCH at Topanga Canyon, Coastline Drive at southbound PCH, westbound PCH to Entrada to eastbound closed from PCH and Malibu Canyon. We have established shelters up for that fire in the following locations: Westwood Recreation Center, which is at 1350 South Sepulveda Boulevard in Los Angeles, Pasadena Convention Center, which I already mentioned, we can go there, 300 East Green Street in the city of Pasadena, and El Camino Real Charter High School, 5440 Valley Circle Boulevard in Woodland Hills. Animal shelters, large animals, LA Equestrian Center at 480 West Riverside in Burbank, large animal shelter, Pierce College, 6201 Winnetka Avenue in Woodland Hills, large animal shelter, Rose Bowl Stadium in Pasadena, small animal shelter, Agora Animal Center, and small animal shelter, Pasadena Humane Society as well. We got to take care of our pets. As I wrap up, a reminder, and you've heard it from several of us, you need to be prepared. If you are in a warning area, make sure you have your essentials, your important paperwork, your medications, things that you can take, your phone charger to survive for at least a week. But if you are told to evacuate and given an order, there is nothing worth your life. Please listen to the police and fire officials that are out there and be prepared to evacuate. If you have more questions or there's about evacuations, evacuation centers, or road closures, go to lacounty.gov/emergency or our Sheriff's Department social media. Now it's my honor to introduce my partner, of the Chief of the Los Angeles Police Department, Jim McDonald.
Thank you very much. And as you look at the group assembled behind this morning, each of those and everybody we represent who's out in the field all have families. Many are impacted directly by the fire, but they leave those families to come and try and be able to help everybody else who's out there. So I owe a debt of gratitude to everybody who is putting it all on the line for everyone else. This is a tragic time in our history here in Los Angeles, but a time where we're really tested and see who we really are. And it's critical that at these times we be patient, that we come together, that we focus on saving lives and to be able to do the very best job we can, so when we look back on this, we know that we did what we could for others. I look at the people who were out there on the line last night. The winds were like something that I have never seen before. Firefighters, police officers, deputies, they're out there sheltering in their vehicles, their trucks and their cars, so that they don't end up getting burned from the fire that was being driven by 75+ mile-an-hour winds. They were there until they could get out of the car and go back to doing their work. As you can imagine, a very difficult circumstance to deal with. These are, as I mentioned, unprecedented conditions, but also unpredictable. As the fire continues to spread and pop up in different locations, none of us know where the next one is going to be. So I would ask you to be vigilant, to look at your neighborhood, to talk to your neighbors, to have everybody on board, so that if they see something start up, that we get on it very quickly. We get fire resources out there as soon as we possibly can, because with these winds, once it starts small, it'll be very big very quickly. And so I would ask for everybody's help, cooperation, and vigilance in that role. As you've heard before about evacuation, that makes the difference between living and not. And so I would ask you to take these warnings.
If you are just joining us here on this CBS News special report, you are listening and hearing the Los Angeles County Police Chief, Jim McDonald, giving us an update on those wildfires that are raging across Southern California this morning. Officials confirming to us during that press conference that at least 2 people have been killed, while those fires have destroyed homes, businesses, covered cities, and highways. And smoke whipped up storms and turned the skies red. Chris Van Cleve has been monitoring the Eaton Fire all morning in Pasadena. All right, so while we're having some technical difficulties with Chris Van Cleve, because as you can imagine, covering these fires, there will be technical difficulties. Again, officials pointing out that 5,000 acres in the Palisades Fire have burned. The fire, folks, is 0% contained, and officials fear that it is only going to get worse because conditions remain dry and there is a noticeable lack of humidity in the air. Again, 2 people killed as these out-of-control wildfires are continuing to rage across Southern California. And even as officials tally the devastating losses, we can report to you now that they do not have any indication or word on what started those fires. During the Eaton Fire, over in Eaton, 2,000 acres have burned, 0% contained. Now, the weather is crucial to firefighters trying to control these flames. So let us bring in meteorologist John Elliott with CBS News New York. John, good morning. What can you tell us?
Vlad, it's just shocking. And I just want to put this into perspective. We can put the satellite on the map, Southern California, and you can actually see some of the smoke from the fire. In the last 20 minutes in Topanga, so you've got Topanga Hills, Topanga Canyon, they've had gusts over 80 miles an hour. But look at the sustained winds we're seeing. This is western LA County. Now, the irony, so ever bittersweet, is The observation for the city of Los Angeles right now is 8 miles an hour. So that kind of wild variety does not help firefighters whatsoever. And then take a look at some of these numbers. These are peak winds since midnight, where you've got close to 100-mile-an-hour peak winds there through Fremont Canyon, and you look at Altadena, heartbreaking in Altadena at 90 miles an hour, and this obviously is what results. I want to share, if I have time, a little bit of guidance for what we anticipate this afternoon. We are focusing, rightfully so, on Los Angeles County, but the tinder, the fuel is there for more of Southern California. Computer guidance on the winds we're anticipating. We're going to make a few stops on this. We can go ahead into time, and you're going to see these numbers retreat a bit into the afternoon, which is good. But what happens is we're going to see overnight tonight these numbers go up. So once again, you're going to see the numbers go from 10 to 15 to gusts closer to 80 miles an hour overnight tonight. There is some good news. There will be a bit of a lull, just a bit. We might be able to get more air resources in the air. But Vlad, this thing is not over by any stretch. Watch for more dangerous winds tonight. Back to you.
It's just absolutely devastating when you hear the numbers coming out to us from Los Angeles. John, thank you very much. Chris Van Cleve has been monitoring the Eaton Fire all morning in Pasadena, and he joins us now. Chris, you heard some of that briefing. 2,000 acres burned so far, 0% contained.
Yeah, Vlad, it doubled in size from midnight to now. We also learned that there are two residents of Pasadena who have died in this fire, and that there were numerous injuries during the evacuation. Now, we were talking to the family that lives here, a guy named Dale Short. He's 91 years old, lived in this house for 6 decades. It was his girlfriend that convinced him to leave. Police were driving up and down the street saying, get out now. He was in the backyard with a garden hose trying to put out the embers that were coming off this hillside here. They fled as parts of the house were catching on fire, as the neighboring houses caught on fire. All of those homes are gone now. He grudgingly admitted she made the right call and probably saved his life last night. Tragic that this Pasadena fire has turned deadly. It also underscores just how fast this was moving. They said that they felt they had maybe 10 minutes from when they realized the fire was coming to it was too late. This moved very quickly, and the winds overnight here were something this area has not seen in recent memory, maybe ever. Wind gusts up to hurricane strength, enough to almost blow you over. And what that did, as these homes were burning, it picked up all of these burning hot embers and just shot them all over the place. In fact, if you think about it, the actual Eaton Fire is about a mile back that way in the foothills. So all of this came from those embers being blown out and spread. You can see why when John talked about those winds coming back tonight, that's going to send a shiver down the spine of Southern California, because once those winds get going, these fires are unstoppable. There's not enough firefighters to battle the number of fires that were burning in this neighborhood last night.
With those 500 personnel that they've assigned to help combat these flames. Chris, you grew up in the area. Our viewers may not know that. What's it like for you to be back there and to see the devastation in your community?
Yeah, I grew up in Pasadena, and the Pasadena area. It's heartbreaking. It's gut-wrenching. It's almost unfathomable. We saw something sort of like this back in 1993, the Altadena fires, and I remember going to my 8th grade class and watching that hillside burn. To come around the freeway this morning and see the same thing again, but worse, was just heartbreaking.
All right, Chris Van Cleve, thank you very, very much for the work you're doing. I'm sorry that you're seeing that devastation in your community, and I'm certainly sorry for the folks who are dealing with these devastating wildfires across Los Angeles. We appreciate you. Thank you. To recap, folks, fire officials say more than 7,000 acres have burned in the 2 major wildfires in Southern California. They are the Palisades Fire and the Eaton Fire. Sadly, 2 people are reported dead in the Eaton Fire. The number of injured is unclear, but officials say a high number of people who did not evacuate in the Palisades Fire have suffered significant injuries. More than 1,000 structures have been destroyed, and so far, there is 0% containment. Our coverage of these wildfires will continue on CBS News 24/7. We will also A full wrap-up tonight on the CBS Evening News. Many of you will now return to CBS Mornings. This has been a CBS News Special Report. I'm Vladimir Dutil in New York.
And you were just watching a CBS News special report on the massive wildfires burning out of control in Southern California. 3 major fires burning right now. Here are the headlines. 7,000 acres, at least 7,000 acres, at least have burned so far. The biggest one right now burning in the Pacific Palisades area. So far, 3,000 acres have burned in that area. At least 1,000 structures have been destroyed. Of course, these numbers are expected to change. Most of the people in that area were evacuated last night. But to give you kind of some perspective of what that area is like, it's very close to the coast. And a lot of that area, very wealthy area, but a lot of those roads are one way. They're very windy, many of them dead ends. So it was a struggle to get all of the people that live in that area out last night. The other fire, the Eaton Fire. Now, to give you some, LA County is huge, by the way. And all these fires burning within about 40 to 50 miles away from each other. So the Palisades Fire right now, that is the largest fire burning right now. The next one is the Eaton Fire. That is right next to the Angeles National Forest. The cities involved in that, Altadena, Pasadena area, 2,000 acres so far burning in the Eaton Fire area. And we're hearing that 2 people did die in the Eaton Fire. That one again burning next to the Angeles National Forest in the Pasadena, Altadena area. We heard in the press conference there the sheriff's deputy talking about just the heroic acts of the deputies just trying to get people out of their homes. That, again, a very heavily populated area. And again, the roads windy. There's heavy brush. It can be very dry in that area. And the other fire, the Hurst Fire, that also is near the Angeles National Forest. This is actually the Eaton Fire. This is a home burning there in the Pasadena area. Firefighters dealing with very strong winds. It's a red flag warning. That means low humidity, high winds. You know, I have friends that live in that area. I'm from that area. I spoke to people last night who described the winds as sounding like they were screaming. We're talking about hurricane force winds, the likely that they haven't seen in up to 15 years is what the latest report was. It's very unusual to have the winds of that strength in that area. Before we get to KCAL, I just want to remind you of the other fire that's burning in Sylmar. That one is the Hurst Fire. Right now, that's about 500 acres. 3,000 people have been evacuated. And it's important to note that fighting this fire is nearly impossible right now because of those high winds, and all of the aircraft so far has been grounded because it's just not safe to fly in that area. So once again, these wildfires burning in Southern California, all burning out of control right now. Let's send it to our partners there at KCAL News and CBS News down in Southern California for the very latest on this firefight.
Out of the crisis that we face here in the city of Los Angeles and the county of Los Angeles today. Also, lastly, just grateful for the work of the President of the United States, kicked in for us late last night, who happens to be in Southern California. The governor was with us in the Pacific Palisades last night and has helped out, and a range of